Welcome to the Win Win Evangelism Podcast. My name's Tina Waldron from Evangelism in Australia. Today I have a fascinating discussion for you. We're talking about reaching the online world, or reaching the world online and face-to-face, a bit of this hybrid approach, and I feel like we could all be encouraged to do this a little bit better. So I'm talking today to church online pastor Steve Fogg from Crossway Baptist Church in Melbourne. He is also, I would suggest, and many around the world, a digital expert. So it's a pleasure to have you. Welcome to you, Steve.
Welcome. Good to see you on this very, very windy day, and I'm so delighted to join you and your listeners and viewers.
It's great to have you along, Steve, and you have such a reputation in this space, so thank you for giving your time. It's a hidden tsunami. You've described this space of online, a hidden tsunami of people. Tell us a little bit about that line and how you see that.
Yeah, so generally, if we're looking at people who are exploring faith, and for all of those, who consume your content, they're passionate about sharing their faith. Or if you're a church leader, you're passionate, you want your church to reach more people for Jesus. One of the things that I think there's a disconnect right now, and it was pre-COVID as well, it's the realization that actually there is more people who are inquiring about the Christian faith online than you could ever possibly reach. And for the average person, we just don't see it because it's not in front of us. But the reality is that people are literally on Google, on YouTube, on their social media channels, looking at content. I call them kind of spiritual stalkers or lurkers, who are just basically reading content, consuming content around the questions that we would normally really be focused on in something like an Alpha course or exploring Christianity course, or maybe in the conversations that you have when you're sharing your faith with your friends. So, for example, Tina, every single month there are around 250,000 searches for who is Jesus. And for those in the Christian bubble, we think everyone knows who Jesus is. But we are very much in a post-Christian world where many people around the world are really just in that kind of first step towards finding out about this person who lived 2,000 a bit years ago. So that's really the opportunity, not just on that one question, but on dozens of questions around both faith generally, Christianity, spirituality, and your church and your community has that opportunity to put content out there to answer those questions. And that's the reality for everyone watching right now. So if you are an average person that attends a church, what you share online determines how people take a step towards Christianity or away from Christianity. How your attitude and your posture, whether you're an angry person or a joy-filled spirit person, can determine and impact those people who are watching. And especially those people who are attending a church, I just say, people are watching how you behave online. People are examining your character, forming an opinion about you by the content that you post. So it's like that old truism, you surround yourself with the most 5 people who you want to be like. That's the reality for those online as well. That's just for that average person. So if you're sharing kind of just really thoughtful Christian apologetics, people are going to actually seriously engage with you and take you seriously. I'm putting my church leader hat back on now. For those who are leading churches, in your community, people are spiritually searching. Just because they're not attending your church or checking your church facility out on a weekend doesn't mean that they're not spiritually searching. But what they can't see for the most part is your church online. And the sad reality is that we as church leaders assume that people are going to walk into our church doors, sit in a pew, and kind of consume service when they're exploring Christianity. Some people will do that for sure, but for the vast majority of people, the hurdles and barriers, both in their own mind and in their own heart to do that, is quite high. So what a lot of people do in that first step is that they check you out online. And this is kind of the mindset shift I just try to say to every church leader. The vast majority of churches do not realize if you're doing any kind of content online, more people see your church online than attend your church in person. Mm. That's just a huge mindset shift that you've got to go through, where it comes back to what is it that you're sharing online as a church, and what sort of content is that? Is it content for Christians? Is it content for those who are exploring faith? Or is it just a worldview that you're angry at the world and, the world's horrible and a nasty place? What is it that you're sharing? Are you sharing that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life? Or, and that's the reality of all the kind of content, both from a church itself, but also what people are actually searching for, because it's more than we can possibly imagine.